Right, there's the chart. So yeah, I'm looking at ES here, and ES swept high of day and made an SMT with this high here, but NQ has not. So really bearish double SMT here. Okay. And then SMT with this high, obviously. Okay, really bearish reaction right now. We're just cutting through everything. Was there a good entry for us? Yeah, there kind of was. But we have equal highs above, so maybe not. So we can watch like the 5 minute here. Wouldn't this M1 long be A plus? Technically this 1 minute long you're targeting an SMT, so you're targeting a high that took out another high. I think technically this 30-second would be decent if we weren't putting in the sell side of the curve here. I mean, technically this would be our market structure shift, right? If we came down and closed below this low. But just based off this structure, this looks very V-shaped to the downside with the market maker model kind of completing here. So we'll see. Sorry, I'm like really late on stuff all around today. My girlfriend had a doctor's appointment this morning, and so I was just checking in with her right now. But yeah, you can see that this long on the 30 seconds already going to fail, and that's because it's a long on the sell side of the curve. Kind of like I just mentioned, we're respecting bearish PD arrays here and disrespecting bullish ones, like this one, for example. So it kind of tells us what this market wants to do, and you can clearly see there 30-second IFG fails. So yeah, definitely bearish. Yeah, everything's all good. Just a routine checkup. For me, I want to go over this morning's trades, but I want to watch this 5 minute close here first. Jiu-Jitsu, you got smoked today? A lot of people did. It's because they weren't using the 15-second. But yeah, I feel like today, both of those longs that failed was just a classic case of longing in premium versus shorting in premium and trying to guess when price was going to finally run the LRLR, right? Um, that's annoying, Scotty. I don't even know what this was, so that was crazy. Yeah, for sure, jiu-jitsu. Definitely something to work on for the future. But yeah, so this first 2 minute slash 3 minute long here was fine, right? We had the liquidity sweep, bullish reaction there, but longing and premium of the range. And I think that you should have been in on this 30-second if you're going to take that long anyway. So I feel like you're just longing after a worse, entry, or longing in a worse entry when there was already a better entry presented. If you took this 30-second, you're the best trader ever because this was the best setup of the day in my opinion. And then I alerted a 15-second long here in chat that printed. I like this V shape after sweeping out this low. Good break even target. And then that just ended up probably being a break even trade. And then I took another 15-second setup. I actually took a lot more trades than I thought I was going to take because I was only planning on taking 2 wins and then being done, but then I started to take more because it just kept presenting itself with trades. So yeah, we're kind of stalling here, so I can go over them now. But yeah, I kind of got on the charts late this morning. Just a slow morning for me overall. And the 30-second short we got here was very good. I don't think there was anything before that. So that was that short that everyone took. This long was very good too, right? Price came down, barely swept this low, and then had a very bullish reaction to that. We get our market structure shift here. So that tells you that the market wants to put in the buy side of the curve there. Price comes down, retraces, respects that, and then we got our confirmation set up. So this was actually a very good long in my opinion. And then I took a long here because I figured we'd go to buy side here, and we created like a bunch of stacked highs here, and I really liked the momentum of this candle, so I took a long there for a win and sold at the high there. And then price came back here. I didn't really see anything else. And then I didn't take that. That would have been a break-even trade on the 30-second. This 30-second long was so good. I don't think I took this one. I feel like I took this one and just got break-even on it. But yeah, that was a good trade. And then the other trade I took was this trade here. This 30-second short was really good. You know, soup the high there, very V-shaped reaction there. We have like, you know, this liquidity here is our break even, and then you can target like, you know, this low and, you know, scale or whatever on the way down. But yeah, besides that, that was about it for the morning that I saw. I didn't really like the 2-minute long there. I didn't like this, you know, if you tried to take a long there, that wasn't valid. But yeah, this 30-second was the play of the day. This 1-minute short wasn't terrible either, as long as we were delivering here. No, we weren't. Did we have a 15-second BPR there? Yeah, we did. Okay, so we were delivering from a 15-second BPR there. There was like a play that was off an SMT this morning too that was really good. But yeah, I don't think I was really... I don't really think I had a bias this morning. I was just watching the reaction we had to sweeping lows. And then, like, this setup was so good. I don't know how you don't call this setup out. Or take this setup. Can you go over the 30-second more depth? Yeah, so all it is essentially a turtle soup entry. Okay? And a singular candle inverse with a lot of momentum with a singular gap here, good break-even target. And then a lot of people said that this would have been a break-even trade for them, but in my opinion, you're not going to go break-even here because this 30-second high here isn't significant on the 1-minute time frame, okay? And there's no roadblock to the left there. And then your obvious spot that I think you do go break-even at is this 5-minute gap that we left behind. Right, because that's a place that price can reject from. So I think that's your break even, and then this just isn't that, you know. Any long here that I just missed right now? No, that 30-second failed. This 30-second was invalid. I guess you had the 1 minute to equal highs there, so that was a good play, I guess. But wow, that just ripped. So on, I always do it close below, but I risk less than like my intention. So my intention on a 20 or 50K account is to risk $250 per trade because that's 10% of the account. But I technically only risk 200 because I know that the close below and whatever is going to affect, you know, the stop loss, right? So yeah, we're obviously still bullish this afternoon because we'd never inverse the 15-minute. I said I would get bearish if we inverse this to the downside, so because that hasn't happened yet. We're still clearly bullish here. We still have that bearish SMT though. I'm at the high because ES hit higher day and NQ hasn't yet. Yeah, I don't know, Murmur. I would never take that trade, to be honest. You took the 30-second below? Okay. No, I think that this was a good play. Good momentum. Robbie, good sweep there. Delivery from last gap. I don't see anything wrong with it. To me, like the biggest issue is obviously like how obvious the gap is, but you know, seeing this much momentum, it's a pretty clean break even. So yeah, I think that was a good trade. I probably wouldn't have taken it or alerted it, but I would have tape read it and watched it. But yeah, I mean, break even at the equal highs or take profit at the equal highs there. Actually, yeah, that was a really good trade. Yeah, good job. Yeah, for sure, jujitsu. Pixel power. It depends if the reset is cheaper than just buying a new account. All right, so there's high of day there. Wow, we are just ripping up. Okay, so like maybe the target this afternoon is this high here, 19,005. What's going on, Adrian? You took this long? No, Robbie did in chat. We were doing like daily review, and it happened like really quick, and I just wasn't looking at the chart. I don't think I would have alerted it though. Anyway, maybe I should have, right? Because the equal highs there. Like it's a good trade. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm a little FOMO'd about it, but we're really high in the day, and it was targeting a bearish SMT at high of day. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean everything about order flow is still telling us we were bullish, right? We were still respecting bullish PD arrays here on the 5 and 15 minutes. So you're afraid of me? Why are you afraid of me? For me to become Ryan. Okay, got you. Nah, nah, nah. I really enjoy trading, and I make a decent amount of my income from trading. So no. Okay, really interesting 1 minute short here. Technically, we're not bearish. This is just like a risk reward play, right? We're doing everything in our power to respect bullish PD arrays, but I mean, we swept high of day. We'd be delivering off of what here? Anything? I guess nothing. So this is just the confluence for this is just sweeping high of day, I guess. So yeah, because I guess we have these 1 minute gaps here. So those are all stacked, and if we draw that to the left, we're still technically respecting those. Sohan, I really like MFFU. If you're more of a beginner trader, Apex is definitely like the cheapest. So if money's a concern to you, like you could go with Apex, and then I just think you shouldn't buy Top Step accounts when MFFU is an option. Would I short this? I think it's a good, like, if you're a trader that likes to take, like high risk, high reward trades, like this is a good option. And I like the break even, and it's technically A plus, but doesn't look like we're gonna get it. Looks like it's gonna go without us. Maybe I don't really like taking candle closes like this either, where we're getting the close on a retracement of the candle, but maybe I'll take it. I have to make my group real quick. I don't know what happened. Do I want to short this? There's just no way I want to short this, right? I'm kind of just hoping this holds. It did not hold. I don't think. That close below, right? Yeah, so technically the entry's there. Really bullish reaction. Even better risk reward now. If you want to try it. The stop on this play would only be like 20 points. So maybe I'll try it on an eval here. I'm in there a couple micros. We'll see if this play works out. I don't know. You're shorting against the bias, so that's the issue with this trade. We don't know if we're going to switch bearish yet. You're just shorting basically off the reaction of high of day here. So it's I don't think it's gonna work, but like you're trying it based off of risk to reward. Oh, we IO fitted the 3 minute. Wait, that's low key terrible. Oops. What, IO fed the 3 minute? Yeah, I didn't see that. Oh, what's an IO fed? It's just when price ever what's it called? Like retraces into a gap and like immediately rejects from it. Creates like a pattern like this. I'll get into a more in-depth explanation of it in a sec. I'm just monitoring this trade. I'm thinking about getting out for break even here because we're just not bearish here at all. Yeah, low key, I'm just going to get out there for break even. We're just not bearish. I didn't see this 3 minute. Had I seen this 3 minute, I would have never taken that trade. So I'm going to get out, because I don't want to be dumb. But yeah. So stupid trade there by me. But let's see if the break even saves us. Okay, so IO Fed is institutional order flow entry drill. And essentially what it is whenever price is really, really bullish or really, really bearish, what you'll see is whenever we create an imbalance to the opposite direction, so in this case the imbalance was created to the downside here, this is an inefficiency, right, for value gap. If price is ever really bullish, what you'll see is you'll see a quick candle down, quickly tapping in, barely entering the fair value gap, balancing it, making it efficiently traded price, and then immediately shooting up in the opposite direction. I thought we just had the 5 minute here, and that's where I was gonna go break even, right? I didn't see the 3 minute, and so um, it's a good spot to like go break even technically whenever you get those type of entries, but I forgot to check the 3 minute time frame there. That's why I got out for break even, because whenever you see a reaction like this to price where we just come down and get that immediate reaction off of the for value gap back up, that's a sign that we're still really bullish. And so now that I had the information, I could kind of fix my mistake there by getting out for break even, because this is never a trade I would take, because price already hit technically um, the gap that would make the 1 minute short here invalid. This is technically an invalid setup that I just entered, so that's why I got out for break even. But yeah, I'll show you guys the executions for that, so you guys don't think I'm just lying here or whatever. I really did enter that trade, and I really did break even because I'm stupid. But yeah, there are those executions. So if you're in that, hopefully you're able to get out for break even there also. But so far it hasn't failed yet, like the 1 minute short here. It's just technically an invalid 1 minute short. So MFFU, by the way, for the person that was asking, MFFU is $92 all in. Okay, you pay that for the eval, and then once you pass, you don't have to pay anything else. Apex is for 80% off. Usually it's like 30 to 40 bucks, and for 20% off, it's usually like less than 20, or not 40, 90% off. It's usually less than 20, and then the activation fee is 125. Okay, and so all in with Apex, once you get the funded, you're paying about 140, 150. Okay. And then for Top Step, I think it's like the most expensive. It's like $200 all in or something, right? Because the activation fee is like 150 and it's 50 bucks an account. And so, what I think is the best option is MFFU as far as value goes, and it's the most beginner friendly, right? Um, but Top Step is cheaper than MFFU. Yes, if you don't include the activation fee. If you include the activation fee, it's like twice as expensive. And MFFU has more drawdown and it has a better payout system than Top Step. Because their payout system is the easiest, Hala. You only have to make 5 days of $100 profit, and then you can request the max amount. Whereas Top Step, you can only request half, and you have to do 5 days of $200 profit. Also, I think me calling out the break even there was like really, really good, because you can see the play failed there. So how is it more drawdown? Top Step does 3K profit target, 2K drawdown. MFFU is 3K profit target, $2,500 drawdown. Nice, Scotty. Yeah, actually, I got lucky. I kind of built a buffer on my last MFFU account, so I'm still rocking with it since I took my max payout. But yeah, I'm looking to get another payout in 3 days. So I'm trying to get a payout like now a week on MFFU. I'm kind of at that point. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm looking at right now is 19K. I think that's the draw. This 1 minute short was just us trying to tempt fate, and that was stupid. What is what helped you best to learn Dodge's IFG model and become consistent with high win rate and knowing what setups are high probability? Honestly, it was just a lot of screen time, just like sitting in the streams and watching what he was doing. Um, I think that Top Step has like an $150 activation fee once you pass the funding, right, Marlon? Or how much is the activation fee for Top Step? I don't use Top Step, so I don't know. Yeah, it's 150, right? So you pay that initial eval, and then once you pass the eval, you have to spend another $150. So it's like $200 all in, whereas MFFU is only like 92. So it's literally less than half if you pass it in the first go. There's actually an equation we can do here to figure out how, like, when it becomes worth it to buy a Top Step over an MFFU, okay? So you do 92x equals 50x plus 150, right? And so here you're just trying to figure out how many times you would have to fail an MFFU in order to make a Top Step more worth it, right? And the answer is, I think, 4 here, right? So if you fail 4 times in a row, this would cost you $400. If you fail 4 times here, then it's only 350. But if you're able to pass an account in 3 or less tries, MFFU is more worth it. Because 3 tries here is $300, and then this is only $276. So if you can pass an account in 3 tries, MFFU is cheap. And then for Apex, you would just do like something similar. So it's $40 for the eval, and then $125. And for this answer, if you can pass the account in 2 tries, MFFU is cheaper. If it takes you 3 or more tries, then Apex is cheaper. But I still think MFFU is better value because their payout system is a lot easier than Apex. By the way, here's our manipulation leg up here, and we have another short to the downside here. So this is obviously better because it gives us a better break-even target here. And then we're obviously, it's no longer an invalid setup because we're not delivering off the 3-minute here. So, like technically this short is better with the manipulation leg, but nothing here is telling me quite that we're bearish yet. This is obviously a break-even because it's a low inside of effort value gap. So, yeah, same thing, right? This is just a high risk, high reward short, but I'm not taking this. I think we're just going to bullish, slow grind up all afternoon. And then maybe we see a reversal, at the end of the day. Do I do the starter plan? Yeah, I do the starter plan. Is this one minute better or not? It's technically better because it's not an invalid setup, but I still don't think it's good because we've clearly proven that we're just very bullish here. This 3-minute getting IO fetted like this just tells us that price is just going to continue to trend up here most likely. And then the issue with looking for longs right now is obviously we're so high up, right? We're up, 340 points on the day, which, isn't that much given the candles we've been getting, but, yeah, I would need like a retrace in order to get long here. So, what's going on, Nomad? Yeah, Joe, Jiu-Jitsu. On the macro, we did have an IFG, Marwin. This one, right? It's 1 minute. Technically still working. But yeah, the max payout for each payout period, or not each payout period, but each time you're able to get a payout for an MFFU 50K starter plan is $1,200, and then you take 5 payouts, and then once you've taken 5 payouts, they'll actually push you to live. So once you're live, then it's just kind of doing whatever. Why don't I live with them? It's more expensive, and I don't know. It's difficult to get there. Like, I think the farthest I've ever gone as far as payouts go after taking the max is like 3 or 4 payouts in a row. And then, obviously I blew the account. What changed when you use live? I think all of your accounts just get combined into one. So whatever profit you had in those accounts gets moved into one live account. And then I think you just have like flexibility as far as how many, like whatever contracts you can take, right? Like, I think the scaling plan changes. Right now in a 50K starter, I think you're able to only trade 3 and then it goes up. So is it better? I don't know if it's better, honestly, because I haven't really gotten to that point with MFFU, but when I do, I'll definitely let you guys know. To me, it doesn't really seem better. It just seems different. Okay, so this 1 minute is really working here. If we put in this 1 minute order block here, that could be really good. If we violated, I think, this gap and put in the breaker to the downside, I think this low would give us our market structure shift that we would need in order to become bearish. Yeah, basically, if you get denied for a payout murmur, you just have to trade another 8 days and then request the profit that you make from those 8 days. You can't request the original profit. And so that's what happened to me. I contacted support about it. They told me my issue, and I didn't really agree with the second time because I didn't really do what they were explaining. But the first time, yeah, I broke a rule. And so I just had to fix my account. And then on the third request, they let me take the payout. So... yeah, they're definitely like sticklers about, you know, taking payouts or whatever, but you just gotta follow the rules, and then as long as you follow them, you should be good. Make sure that you're not doing things like, you know, you're only risking, like, they don't like 1 to 5 RR trades, right? So we never take 1 to 5 RR trades, but let's say like you're in a position, right, and you're down like 50 points, okay, and then it comes back and you take a take profit for only 10 points, they don't like that. Okay, you can't do that. That's improper risk management according to them. Okay. You also can't lose more than 30% of the drawdown that you start with in a single trade. So if I'm on a 25K account, I can't lose more than 450 in a single trade. Yeah, Scotty, but they don't see it like that. So what's happened to me before, I think, is, and why I got denied that second to last payout, is because I was in drawdown for a trade, and then price came back, hit my break even target, and then I got stopped out for break even, and I guess that breaks consistency. But I don't know, Scotty. I gotta find where I found that rule. But yeah, I feel like there's somewhere out there where it says like 1 to 5 risk reward is not allowed. You can only request 500 Elmon. So that's the other part that sucks about Apex, is you have to make so much profit, but you only get to request a little bit of it compared to MFFU, where you get to request all of it. The 1 minute should be at break even, right? Technically no. The 1 minute should be the break even. I feel like should be this low inside the fair value gap here. It's the first intermediate term low. You can request 100% of it after you build a buffer, up to $2,000 for a 50K. So the way that it works is you start with the 50K account, okay, and then you have to build a buffer, which your buffer has to be $2,600, okay, and that gets you to a total account balance of $52,600, okay, and then once you're at this point, you can request $500, okay, and then every dollar after that you earn, you get to request that on top of the 500. So if I make, let's say, 54,100 on the account, that means I can request the full $2,000. Okay. If I make 53,400, okay, that means I can request 1,300, right? So does that make sense? So you have to make so much more profit, okay, to make the same amount of money, okay? So here's the difference between MFFU and Apex, okay? Apex, what am I doing? Why am I not using a text box? Okay, Apex, you start with a 50K eval, okay? You make $53,000. You make $53,000, okay, done. Okay, now we're in the funded. Now on the funded, you have to make $2,600 profit just to get a payout, okay? $500, okay? And then after that, you can, you know, get to 4,100, let's say. But we're going to use, in this example, $3,300 as our profit. So you have to make $3,300 profit, and then you get a payout of $1,200, okay? This is MFFU. Okay. MFFU is you start with 50K, okay, for your eval, and then you get the same thing once you make $53,000 or $3,000 profit, you pass. By the way, there's the break even finally on this 1 minute short. And then for funded, you start with 50K again, okay? And then once you get 5 days of $100 profit, you can request $400, okay? So now the account balance is $50,500. So this is $400. Okay, that's when you can request your max payout when you've hit the minimum payout threshold. And then once you get to $51,300, you can request $1,200. So in total, for MFFU, you have to make $4,300, okay, between the eval and funded. And on Apex, to get the exact same payout, okay, $1,200, you need to make $6,300, okay? What am I doing? Okay, that's why I think MFFU is better. Because you have to make $2,000 more to make the same amount of money on Apex as you would MFFU. Nice, Ed. Yeah, when you withdraw a payout on MFFU, so let's say I make $1,600, okay, across 5 days, and then I request the max payout. After that, your account gets reset, okay, and any profit you make above $50,100 is what you get to play with, okay? So $1,600 minus $1,200, okay, puts the account balance at $54,000, or not 50,000, 50,400, okay? Meaning any money I have over 50,100 is now my current balance, okay? So I have a $300 left of drawdown after taking a payout after making $1,600, okay? So that's how the payout rules work for MFFU. That's why after I take a payout on MFFU, sometimes I blow up the account because there's just barely any money left over. And then obviously the reason why I take payouts, as I've said before, as soon as I have the ability to, is because for some reason prop firms have this tendency to be unpredictable. Like randomly they will change their rules or deny payouts or whatever. And so I just like to take my profit whenever I possibly can. Tradeify the other month ago or whatever made an update that they started enforcing 5 days later. Okay, if you're in the middle of a payout and you're not able to request or whatever, that money might have just gotten trapped in that account, and there's nothing you could do about it because you either broke a rule or whatever. So that's why I like to request. Angel, I just like trading prop firms because the risk reward of that is so much better. I mean, for $100, you can buy an MFFU account, make 5 days of $100 profit, and right there, that's 4 to 1, right? $400 you get to take out, and you only had to risk 100, right? Okay, so that's 4 to 1 risk to reward. If I did the exact same thing and I took a 1 to 1 risk to reward trade, I'm risking $400 to make the same amount of money, right? So to me, it's more beneficial to just trade on a prop firm. Taking a $500 or taking no, it leaves you with $2,000 drawdown, Danzino, and you can't request that full amount until after it's like 5 payouts or something. It's a lot, so. This 30 has been keeping us up. Might get inversed. Which 30-second? This one here. Yeah, we'll watch that, I guess. But yeah, I think this 1 minute trade was, like I said, it's the exact same idea as this trade. This was just a valid setup. This one here and this was invalid. So that's why this one's working out and this one failed. And that's why I got out of this trade for break even when I could, because I knew that this was a losing setup because it didn't follow the model. Javi, we're going to get back to normal trading conditions, and you're going to miss when you can make 50 points like that. But what do you do when you take all the profits and you have no buffer? Most of the time, I just blow the account, and I just restart. No, it's not, because I can pass evals pretty quick. Yeah, Danzino, that's what I said. Right? Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't. I think there's positives and negatives to both. Like, I don't think trading on an Apex account is a bad option, right? It's really good value because they're so cheap, especially when you get them for 90% off. I just think it's a hell of a lot easier as a new trader to make $4,300, okay, which is all you have to make as an MFFU trader, versus 6,300, okay. I mean, if I'm trading, and making 1R per trade, risking $200 on a 50K, I have to trade 10 more trades on Apex than I do MFFU. And if I'm only capping out at two trades a day, like let's say I'm only making 10 trades a week, I have to work a whole extra week to make the same amount of money on Apex. Does that make sense? Like that's why I think that Apex isn't as beginner friendly as MFFU. You have to make 10R extra to get the same amount of money on Apex. Obviously, you can offset that by copy trading a lot of accounts on Apex, right? That's why the cap on MFFU is 3, whereas Apex it's 20. So there's definitely upsides and downsides to both firms, but I think if you're new to trading and you're looking to get a payout, MFFU is the easiest option. You have 100K on your IBKR account. Would you still advise to use prop firms? Yeah. If you want to stack 20 accounts on Apex, you can still get more money in that than what's in your live account right now, right? Yeah, Trillion Drawdown in MFFU doesn't exist. It's end of day drawdown. So, it's not like on Apex where if you make profit in an account and then it goes to break even, you lose that in your drawdown. If you make profit on MFFU and it goes back to your break even, it just still is the same drawdown that you started the trade with. So I think that's pretty good. And then your drawdown just gets reset at the end of the day. So like let's say I make $800 profit on MFFU, that brings my total drawdown to $3,300, and then once the day ends, it gets reset to 2,500, and you do that until you're out of the drawdown period, which is just whatever profit you need to make. Yeah, I mean, that's cool if he wants to do that. I just think prop firms are better risk tools than live account trading, but Dodgy's probably at a point where he can risk whatever he wants, and that's probably like okay with his risk reward. And then obviously he's very comfortable as a trader. So for me, like I might become more emotional if I were to risk my own funds versus a prop firm's funds, but he's probably not having that same issue. And then Top Step is just the worst because like $2,000 drawdown versus 2,500. Okay, on MFFU, and then I don't know how their payout process works. Actually, yes, I do. So their payout process works like this. Okay, so if I want to make or if I want to take a payout on MFFU, okay, I have to make $1,300 profit for the max payout, $1,200. Okay, if I want to take that same payout on Top Step, I would have to make 2,400. Okay, but the max payout for a Top Step account is 5,000. Right, so there's benefits to Top Step and there's drawbacks. Right, but I think as far as beginner friendly goes, MFFU is better. And the reason why you have to make 2,400 is because Top Step only pays half your profits. Okay, whereas MFFU pays out 100%. So they're technically better than Apex as far as payout rules go, right? But I think Top Step has a better scaling plan than MFFU, and they allow you to withdraw more when you're on sim funded. But yeah, I mean Top Step is $200 for funded, and MFFU is 92. So it's like I think MFFU is just still way better. So yeah, it looks like this 1 minute trade was a break even. And then these are just really choppy price conditions right now, guys. I'm not gonna trade in this. What are your tips for passing evals faster? Just taking 1-to-1 setups and like targeting like $500 a trade, and you can pass in like 6 trades. And if you get like 3 trades a day, that's only gonna take you like 2 days. If you hit 100% or whatever. If you did it that way, MFFU expert plan is like Top Step Plus. When you get a discount for it, you get it for 170. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so MFFU expert is essentially the same as Top Step, but it's better in every way. So that's a good point. But I still think starter's the best value. Yeah, I mean Tradeovate's really easy to use, guys. I mean it's the same as anything else, right? So yeah, we do have this 30 second of the downside here. Um, Delivering off of this 1 minute gap to the left here. We got the retrace for it, and technically it's a valid setup. Your break even would be this low here. It's bad risk to reward to the break even point, but it is kind of going along with liquidity right now because liquidity is telling us that we don't really want to go higher. We've just kind of souped this high and came right back down. So can't even take profit there. You'd have to TP at this wick here for 1-to-1. We'll just see if this is going to be a win or a break even trade. So yeah, there's the break even. And then let's just see if this would have been a break even. Doesn't look like it. This is kind of picking up volatility here a little bit. By the way, we don't have any news this afternoon, so nothing really we can use as a catalyst. No Trump meetings, no nothing. Oh, no break even. Okay. Who's in this 30 second? There's the first take profit. This was probably a fine trade. What would be my tips to get funded payouts? I like taking base hits. I don't like going for like shooting for the moon with funded, especially on Apex, because you can kind of wreck your trailing drawdown, and you don't have a lot of that when you're on a 25k. So I usually just like shooting for like maybe 1-2 R, and hitting my profit target for the day and calling it. And what I like to do is each time I take a win, I will get off the account that I took a win on and switch to a different account group. And then once I take two winning trades in a session, I'll be done for the session. So like this morning, I took 2 winning trades and I was done unfunded with the session, and I switched to evals. How many groups do I have? I have 3 on Apex and I have 1 on MFFU, so I have 4 groups total that I just cycled through. Nolderman is in 10 micros. Wow. And on eval, you usually take 1-to-1. Eval, it kind of depends. It's just the vibes. On Apex, I'll usually take more 1-to-1s than MFFU because the Apex drawdown is a lot more, significant. It's trailing. Whereas on MFFU, I might let eval plays, kind of run more. It just kind of depends. So there's the break even for the 30 second there. So it looks like a little scale plus break even trade. Really good um, take profit there. It was at least 1-to-1 away, and we hit a low inside of a for value gap that we souped, so it made sense to take profit there. LR up. This 30 second trendline liquidity definitely seems decent. I can't lie. Maybe if we got a V shape after hitting this 5 minute gap, I'd be interested in that. maybe this 2 minute gap or something. But yeah, I mean, this kind of looks like the sell side of the curve. We'll know for sure once we close below the 1 minute here. More obviously, like here, like if we close down here, this would tell me that we're putting in the sell side of the curve, and we're going to go for this low here. That would be so annoying if it top ticked the break even and then we just continue to dump. Can you imagine? Okay, so we still haven't really closed below this low yet, so I can't say for certain that we are, fully bearish. We haven't gotten that market structure shift. So 0.5 seconds short? Yeah, let me check real quick. Oops, I can't. We do have a 30-second long back up here. Really good break even. This is probably A plus, right? So yeah, break even trade there. And break even probably, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Actually, we might be good. I'm still good. Somehow. Okay, okay, okay. Who's in this? I know this happened super quick. Oh, please. And break even. Darn. Yeah, that was an A plus setup. That was fine. Not to hate, thank God it was break even. I was about to have FOMO. Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a break even there because we came up and hit this 2 minute Sibby. So good place to go break even. We can watch to see if this 2 minute works. This would also, I think, technically be A plus because we're coming off of a soup here, and then we also have a protected low. All right. Once again, though, I mean, you don't like to see these reactions. This is once again an IO Fed, so that's telling us that the market really wants to get bearish here. But we'll see. If we come back up here, we'd be putting in a 1 minute prop block, right? So there's the order block there. Here's the prop block here if we closed over. And then we'd be getting a 2 minute inverse, and then we have LRLR above. So I feel like this is not a bad entry either. We have a 3 minute 2. So yeah, 2 or 3 minute we'd like to see get closed over here. Uh-oh. Might be coming back down. Can somebody walk me through real quick why I rated this A plus? Yeah, right. We have biggest thing for me is drawing liquidity. We have that LRLR above. We have the sweep of the low here. Tapped into a 5-minute unfilled gap there. Instant V shape signature and price, right? We close over the volume imbalance there. Good momentum candles up, and then good break even target. I mean, that's A plus, right? Still technically working. It has not failed yet, so we'll definitely keep an eye on this. This will definitely tell us a lot about bias if we hold this, because this is technically a bullish PD array, right? So if we start to respect bullish PD arrays here, that's going to tell me that the market wants to become bullish. And if we violate them to the downside, that tells me market wants to become bearish. And we want to get that market structure shift and put in the sell side of the curve here. Should we take the inverse IFEG model now? We've inversed the IFEG to the downside, so I don't know. Wouldn't it be scary shorting into a void? Nah. I wouldn't say this is a void. This 5-minute short would be interesting though. Amy now? SMT now? Oh yeah, bullish SMT at the low there. Good point. Thank you. I was like, what the hell does Amy have to do with this? Okay, I mean, here it comes again. This time we have an SMT off the low too. Not the same momentum, clearly. Yeah. So I guess, Danzini, you could say we have opposing draws on liquidity. I don't know where I would put the draw on liquidity for a void, but we have LRLR above and a void. So the issue is we're targeting highs that have swept out buy side. So that's really the issue with us longing here. I definitely think it makes more sense to become bearish, especially since I believe, we have our market structure shift. So technically, we should be putting in the sell side of the curve right now. But as long as we're respecting this 5-minute, I can't say concretely that we are full on bearish, right? Like getting this 5-minute short would be kind of cool. We've been respecting bullish PD arrays all since like 11 o'clock, so. Sorry, I was sneezing. That 30-second just triggered and played out off the SMT. So we just want to continue to see this momentum. Is anybody in off this 30-second here? I mean, clearly it was very close to the break even. Actually, no, technically this was the break even here, this 1 minute. So we just hit it. But it looks like it's going to be a break even trade. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the 2 and 3 minute here. We just put another 15-minute candle there. Which buy side we swept? We swept out high of day. So this buy side here. I don't know. I'm not really loving these price conditions. Are you guys? I feel like the candles are kind of wicked. A lot of these candles have bigger wicks than their bodies. So I feel like these aren't the best price conditions to be trading in right now. Remember, A plus setup. Time plus model plus bias. Okay, what's our bias based on right now? We're delivering from bullish PD arrays, and we have a bullish draw on liquidity above. Okay, so bias, check. Time, 230, kind of check. Model, kind of. This 2 minute, right? So, I mean, this is iffy. We'll put an asterisk there. And for model, I'd say this is like an A setup because momentum. And then bias, I'd say is a also because drawn liquidity is like what, or not drawn liquidity. LRLR is like what, tier 4 for our hierarchy of draws. So it's like okay. I think I'd rate this setup though on the 2 minute probably an A minus setup overall because time. And then if it was with time, I'd rate it A. Because we just don't time and momentum. Sorry, not just time. Because this I rated A plus, and that didn't really have the time component, but it didn't matter because momentum. Apoff, what do you rate this setup? I know you got your whole ratings guide. I feel bad. I just called out Apoff, like, you know, like the teacher in class. He wasn't even raising his hand, and I just called him out. Drawn liquidity would be this LRLR above. I'd say it's pretty obvious on like the 30-second here. We have like a lot of stacked highs. And then there's one other issue with this trade, and then we've swept out buy side. So you're targeting liquidity after we've swept out buy side. Yeah, I know. 1 minute short, only thing wrong is not strong liquidity target. Yeah, I think that would be the issue with trying to go short right now. We're just really struggling to do anything, to be honest. And this is typical of like Friday afternoons, right? We know Friday afternoons aren't always the best PA. Where's delivery from 3 minute? Yeah. So we have delivery to the upside from the 3 minute and the 5 minute here. And then delivery to the downside would be this SIBI that's being respected. So while we're just chopping between these two gaps, I don't think I can take anything. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Data highs from CPI. What are we talking about? CPI. Wait, this dude's capping. What are we talking about? Am I missing something here? Oh, ES, huh? Right? We're talking about ES or no? Fahrenheit? Because the data high here got swept on NQ. Oh! Whoa, whoa, whoa! I look away for 2 seconds. 2 minute won't close for another minute. We have the 1 minute if you want to get in early, if you have conviction of this LRLR being ran. It's pretty good momentum. If we hit this high here, that's the break even for the 1 minute. And then the 2 minute would obviously be invalid. And then we also have the 3 minute too, right? Which is another 2 minutes till that close. I really like this momentum, so I think this will work to this high before the 2 minute entry. I kind of have a late fill, but we'll see. Let's see, 2 minute here. Ooh, 2 minutes not going to close over. Oh, 1 minute's getting cooked. Hey, good job if you didn't take that with the 2 minute. Still not closing over. Dang. 1 minute longer's got wrecked. All right, so now, I don't know, what can we do? This is trash. Is this the one? This 30-second backup. This is such bad PA, low key. I don't even know if this is worth trading in. I mean, this 1 minute here is still holding. So I guess that's your delivery for this 30-second. This is like probably a B plus setup. Actually, probably A minus. This momentum is really strong. Good break even too. No, it's going to hit the high without us. No. Don't do it. Okay, we didn't hit the high. All right, now we have to take a retrace entry here because the close is too high. And there's the high. So there's the break even for the 30-second and probably a break even. Yeah, break even. I think this is going up. I have no idea why we stop ran there just to go back up. That was like the bait of all time. We have this 2 minute close and another 1 minute. I think it also aligns with a 3 minute here, so this would be good. I guess. We do have a bearish SMT at this high here. And there's the high on the 2 minute. So now it's an invalid setup. So no entry there for the 2 minute. Technically the 3 minute's still valid, but like, I don't know. Three minute is still valid. Yep. So there's the 3 minute close above there. And then your break even for the 3 minute would be this high. And I'm not taking this. This is bad price conditions. So I'll watch it play out. But yeah, these price conditions are too choppy to be taking trades in. What makes it a bearish SMT? Whenever, like, let's say, okay, so we have the two indices here, right? So the Nasdaq and the S&P, okay? Whenever one indice sweeps a high that the other doesn't sweep, or vice versa, a low that the other indice doesn't sweep, that's considered an SMT, okay? And what that tells you is that one indice is either weaker or stronger, okay? So in this case, this is a bullish SMT with these two lows. Can you see that? Okay, they're the same lows on each indice. And what that tells us is that ES is stronger than NQ, okay? Meaning that there's a good chance that price will reverse off this low because the one indice is already expressing bullish interest to go higher because the other indice isn't making lower lows, whereas this one is, right? And so whenever you have that discrepancy where prices or where the indices aren't making lower lows or higher highs at the same time, that's where you can typically see reversals, right? And you can see that here, right? When we got this SMT at the low here, price came back up 100 or so points, right? So that's an SMT. You just use it to potentially identify reversals in the market. I have no idea, Javi. I got denied a payout for improper risk management. They wouldn't elaborate on why, and I'm just thinking of theories as to why. I know that in the rules they say that 1 to 5 RR is against their rules, and I'm guessing maybe like one time I took a break-even trade after being, in drawdown, so I have no idea. Yeah, not 5 to 1 APOF, 1 to 5. So if you 0.2 RR. Yeah, CISD is just an order block. So this is a CISD right here. It's just a block of orders. This is considered efficiently traded price because you have an equal amount of orders to the downside as you do to the upside. And this entire part of price here that's shaded, this 727 to 751 area, is completely efficiently traded. We had orders that came down and were traded bearish, and then we had orders that came up and were traded bullish. And so that spot in price is considered balanced. And what that means is price wants to go from inefficiency to inefficiency. So if we put in a bullish order block here, there's no reason for price to want to continue to trade below this level because the next area of inefficiently traded price should be higher, right? So if the inefficiencies are higher and the efficiencies are lower, price is going to want to target the inefficiencies versus the efficiencies, right? That's a CISD. And the best CISDs are at the low of the range and are used like to identify like points in the market where we're reversing. So here we have the CISD that forms at a swing low, right, with an SMT. So this is how we knew the market was going to reverse here, right, delivering out of a 5-minute gap. Why higher in this case would be the inefficiency? Because we have a lot of liquidity that's up here, okay? So there's an inefficient amount of liquidity. There's more resting liquidity up here than down here, okay? And the reason why there's more liquidity up here is because there's stop losses placed at all of these highs on the way back up here, okay? And so the market's going to want to target each and every one of these highs and trigger the stop losses there. right? Because retail is going short once we sweep out high of day here. Because I think MFFU is better. You get to keep 100% of the profit you make on MFFU versus Top Step. Does MFFU have trailing drawdown rules? No, they have end of day drawdown. Steiner, I'm telling you, MFFU is just a better Top Step. It's funny that you're asking me all these rules because we literally just went over like all of the different prop firm rules like earlier in the stream, and I think you were just late to it. So if you want to go back and review today's stream, I'll get it uploaded, and it kind of just goes over everything as far as like which prop firm is the best and why. No, you're good. Yeah, no reason to be sorry. I just, I don't think everyone wants to rehear me explain prop firm rules again. So, have I tried TPT? No, I haven't. All right, enjoy your drinks. Have a good night, Nolerman. I think I agree with you. 19K seems to be the draw. Probably not happening, Dapper. I think I'm just gonna stick with futures. I'm getting really consistent payouts right now, and I'm really enjoying my time. I'm doing that. So with TradeMate, how do you copy trade your 3MFFU? Just group them and manually place your bracket. Yeah, I just manually place my bracket exactly. Yeah. I just don't think options are worth your time. That's kind of the conclusion I've came to. That like right now, I have no reason to trade options because the risk is too much for my liking. Yeah, Marwin, I only trade a NQ. Are you the only one in this 3 minute? I think so, but you should be break even now, Billy Bob. You want to see price close over this 1 minute gap here, and then just continue to accelerate you up, take out these highs, and then this is where I would do like maybe final TP on that 3 minute long. Right now I'm eating the Berea protein pasta thing for lunch with some like charred sauce. Mm. You were gonna ask me about my strategy with exceeding profits from a trade, like you like to separate an amount for stocks or maybe QQQ. What do you mean? Like, what do I do with my profits? Berea protein pasta. This is what I'm talking about. Good macros on this. $10 grams of carbs per serve, or protein per serving, and it's pasta. Do I trade full time? Yeah, I do. Uh-oh. Billy Bob, no. No. He got break even. Isn't it Berea? How do you pronounce it? How, where's I don't know. Oh my gosh, we're falling out of the sky. Yo, what is this candle? It's so funny. Nolerman just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna set this long position and go grab drinks." I think final draw today is 19K. Oh, yeah, APOF. Right now, I'm just worried about maxing out my retirement accounts and like just everything that I can get tax advantaged, and then from there, I'll probably just get real estate. But I'm not at that point yet. I'm still working on the tax advantage part. There's like a whole. It's called the fire uh, flow chart thing that I follow, and it like tells me how to like invest, most efficiently or whatever, and like how to model your finances. But I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't think I can give you advice on that. I'd have to go get my Series 65 or whatever. I'm just educating. This is all educational. No advice. He's taking shots now. Yeah, I guess. Wow, okay, this V shape on the 1 minute looks kind of crazy. We're still respecting this 1 minute here. Do I trade full time? Yeah, I trade full time. I've been trading full time since September of 23. So coming up on almost 2 years now. You missed your ex? That sucks. No, APOF. It's something else. It's more in depth. I'll send it over to you so you can take a look at it. After how much time? It took me. I knew about trading and I was learning about finance and economics and whatever for 3 years. And then after I started learning futures, I started learning in January of 23. And then in March of 23, I really became invested in Dodgy's server and was a big member there, and then learned from him. And then after 5 months or so, I got my first 5-figure payout, and then I went full time in September. And it also really helped as a catalyst for my ability to go full time that the job market for IT was kind of cratering around that time. So, yeah, just more incentive for me to like push myself to be a full-time trader, because I went through like rounds and rounds and rounds of interviews and just like wasn't seeing the success that I'd seen during COVID. I had a few internships there, and even after graduation, like things have just been so difficult, even, trying to get back into the companies that I was a part of. And so I had to find something else for myself, and trading was that solution. Had to get out of the parents' house. I was 21 or whatever. You could skip that by going all in on red. True. Speaking of gambling, I went to the casino last night and lost $300. Took me 3 hours. I was betting the table minimum because I don't like to gamble too much. But yeah, Lost $300 last night, so very cool. Risk 600 to get it back. True, true. Yeah. Yeah, I lost like 7 or 8 hands in a row because the dealer was pulling blackjacks and 5 card 21s. And then I quad split eights versus a nine up, and I got 18 every single time out of every single eight, and the dealer flips over a 19. So lost a lot between those like three situations. There was like a 6 card 21 at one point. So I was trading, okay, and doing job interviews. So the way that it worked was like I graduated from college in May of 23. Okay, I started getting into trading in January of 23. Like futures, I'd already been involved in options. I got my winning my largest win on options in April of 23, and I graduated college, and that's when I started looking for jobs. Just going to use my degree, and just wasn't seeing a whole lot of success. But I was also still trading while I was looking for jobs, just with something to do. And I got better and better at doing that. And then me and my family went down to Mexico to visit, where my dad's from and all that. And during that vacation was when I got my first 5-figure payout. And that was through Apex. It was like 6 accounts. It was like 325Ks and 350Ks, and that was like the catalyst. That was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. And so it was just history from there. Yep, for sure, Apoff. But yeah, this was during old Apex rules too. This was back when you could like request the full amount after you got to the profit target. These new ones are just killer. Where'd you stay at, Digital Nomad? Yeah, you can request full in MFFU, correct? Well, up to 1200. I don't APOF. I use Fidelity. Nomad. I went to Puerto Vallarta. Are you talking about Puerto Vallarta, or is that somewhere else? Dude, yeah, that's where we went. We went to Puerto Vallarta. Dude, I love, Pepe's downtown. Those are the best tacos in Puerto Vallarta, dude. They're so good. Oh my gosh, dude. I Pepe's might be like my favorite food of all time. Their El Pastor with some pineapple and the salsas on the table. Those are so good. And it's nice because there's the gas station right across the street, so you can just run over and you can bring over a couple beers. Have your tacos and Pepe's and you're good. And the beers in Mexico are so cheap because you don't have to deal with the import tax. It's all domestic, and Mexican beer is by far the best beer. Um, so yeah, I mean, how much is a beer in Mexico? It's like 26 pesos or something for a can. It's so cheap. It's like $1 or something. You ever go to the romantic zone in Puerto Vallarta? There's this one really good bakery that's in like the gay area that's like super good. The gay area, the romantic zone, it's called. It's like Puerto Vallarta is like a pretty notorious like gay city. It's like a safe zone for gay people, and there's this bakery that's in like this one area where usually they stay, and it's so good. What's good about it? The pastries? I don't know. We should find it. It's over here. See, look, Zona Romantica. Right here. This is where it is. Wait. The gay area. I don't know. It said it on the map there for a second, but yeah, I don't know. Forget it. But yeah, we'll find it. Oh my god, there's so many. Maybe we won't find it. I have no idea what it's called. I'm just kind of going off vibes right now. I know it's like over here. Is it this one? No. Ah, it's this one. Dude, this is the best bakery ever. Why can't I look at the photos? Yeah, this is the one. Dude, that's so good. I want to go back so bad. We have this 1 minute long setup forming here. We did violate that 1 minute to the downside. So, I don't know. This is just bad PA, right? This is pretty typical of a Friday. We got the 1 minute close over there. Like, I feel like this should go for, you know, the highs here, but we'll see. We will see. Everything has just been kind of like really choppy. We've been seeing these stop run candles, so I don't want to like commit to anything, but we'll just see. Did we get an SMT at that high too? Oh no, we didn't. Okay. By the way, we are at like 3 o'clock here, so we're technically in the macro time, so this really should run the high here. This is all like once the macro time starts, we get this like manipulation down, and then yep. Break even would be 1448. Yes, correct. Yeah, but I'm not in this. This is like kind of like the trade that Dodgy was trying to take earlier. It's like that similar vibe. This 30-second long is way better, I think. if we get that 30-second V-shaped signature in price. We got it. So yeah, I think this is a good long, and then break even would be the highs. Okay, so there would be the break even.
Check your damn phone, bro.
Oh, yo, what's going on?
Yeah, who's in this? Who's in this?
Yo,
Who's in this? Who's in this?
we're all in this, right? We're all in this.
Let's go. We're printing. Dude, I did so bad this morning, and then I don't know. I hated this morning.
Yeah, it was rough.
I should have taken that short that we got off open. I just didn't take it because I was bullish.
Yeah. I liked the 30-second long there before you took that 3 minute. I thought that was probably the play of the day because we had a bullish.
I took that and I got stopped to break even.
Really? I don't think I would have gone to break even until we hit
Yeah.
the 5 minute.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Because if you look at the break even spot here on the 30-second, there's no prevalent high there on the 1 minute, so there's really no reason to go break even there. And then the 5 minute unfilled gap there.
I was debating whether to go to style break even or not, but I'm like, yeah, I want to break even.
That's just not right. Sorry. This is the 5 minute here. Dude, I have
Did you get my? Oh yeah, you got my text. We'll do journal review around 4. You'll start it, and then I'll get home probably 4:15 if that's all right.
All right. I'm gonna give you all the really hard people. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Dude, last week, like groups 4 through 5, like everyone 1 through 4, like there's really nothing wrong with a lot of their trades. They're doing good.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more to review this week, I think.
Probably.
But yeah, there was only one trade that I
All
called
right,
A
see.
plus today. It was this 30-second here. I really liked this because we came down, hit this 5 minute, kind of got like an IOFed reaction from it, and then we had
On the on another note, the my long term investments are doing well. Remember when I said to buy below the 50% yesterday?
yeah.
Yeah, did you do it, or were you too lazy?
I bought 15%.
Oh.
I bought 15% more, so now I'm 20% of my cash is invested, and then 80% is still sitting. I'm still waiting for
Nice.
A couple more dips.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, dude. IOFed, sure. Institutional order flow entry drill. Okay. This 30-second is doing pretty well. I didn't have time to rate it because it just kind of went, so I couldn't fully review it. But in hindsight, this is an A setup. No liquidity sweep, but we have delivery, signature and price, singular gap, good, momentum, all that. But yeah, institutional order flow entry drill. That's what an IOFed entry is. It's essentially when price retraces to a fair value gap and gets an instant reaction from it, right? And what that tells you about the market is that we want to continue going in that direction or make a lower low or whatever because there's still unfilled liquidity below, right? So in this scenario here, we had a 2 minute IOFed here at 14.22 where price was clearly bearish, but because we left an inefficiency here, which is this unfilled feed array, right? This is an inefficiency until it's filled. Okay. Price needs to come back and fill in that inefficiency because it's the goal of the market makers to um, balance liquidity and go from inefficiency to inefficiency. And inefficiency is essentially an area of inefficiently traded price where orders weren't filled. Right, market makers make money when they make commissions off the orders that they fill. And so here we have unfilled, basically money. Right, there's money here that the market makers need to collect. So they send price up. We tap into this 2 minute, and then as soon as we do that, as soon as the market makers collect their money, price continues to go in its intended direction. Okay, which I guess was just to resweep this low one more time, form an SMT, and then get the long from there, right? So that's essentially what an IOFET is. It's just a moment in price where price comes back against the draw and liquidity to fill in an inefficiency, and then immediately reacts after price has been balanced. No, Brandon. IOFED literally just happened. Show it on the 1 minute. Yeah, so this is an IOFED here too. We created an area of inefficiency. Okay, this 1 minute gap was left unbalanced. We swept out liquidity, and price needed to come back to fill in that inefficiency before making a newer high. Right, this is the newer high, and you can see what that looks like on the lower time frame here, where you can see that bearish 30-second candle and then that immediate reaction back up. So there's another IOFED right there. Yeah, it's hindsight. You would use it as like a confluence, right? You would use it to build confidence in your trade, right? So if you see price barely sweep a fair value gap, like on the 5 minute, and then get a nice bullish reaction after, that's basically your way of being able to like anticipate a good quality trade, or like a inverse or whatever, right? It is hindsight, right? But a lot of things that we use in the market that are hindsight are just ways that we can build conviction in trades. No, it's okay, Sammy. I mean, people pay for education, right? There's not really anything for me to say about the chart right now other than, you could scale here at this high once we sweep the equal highs here. So that's a scale spot for the 30-second. And then obviously people know, like, this is LRLR that I've been looking to have ran all afternoon. This is probably where I would have all out minus a runner, and then you could probably just go all out at the highs there, or all out at 19K, whatever you have conviction for. I'd probably go all out at these highs. But yeah, this was good, like a good signature in price. So I forget what I was explaining when this happened, but yeah, like that was a good trade. So here, anytime we create like an obvious bullish order block, I like to trail my stop below it. So if you have your stop at break even, it might make more sense for you to move it in a profit at this point. Okay, this is an obvious bullish 30-second order block that shouldn't be violated as long as we remain bullish here, because as I explained about order blocks earlier when we were talking about CISD, this is efficiently traded price, right? Same here, right? We came back and filled in this 1 minute here. So price should not violate this order block if we're to remain bullish. And so far, so good. If we violate this, then that's going to tell me that maybe we're now reversing bearish. Right? Because there's no reason for price to come back since we've balanced the bullish fair value gap here that we left unfilled. So now what we'd want to see, or what we need to see happen, is this 30-second to just get inversed immediately. We need to see a really bullish reaction off the order block there. And if not, we're probably going to get stopped in profit. What I hate to see happen though sometimes with these order block stop losses is sometimes we'll just come down, soup the low, and then immediately bounce from there. But that's usually only if there's like an unfilled fair value gap on a different time frame. So what can happen sometimes is even if we fill in a 1 minute fair value gap there and balance it, we'll leave behind like a 5 minute or something that price needs to come down. So here that's not the example. So really it makes sense to have your stop loss below the order block here. But like in another example where like we leave like behind a 5 minute and your stop loss for the order block that was created is now at where the 5 minute FEG is, it might make more sense to just leave your break even at the original entry or your stop, whatever. Do I prefer break even or trail my stop? Like I just said, it's situation dependent. So like here, I would just trail my stop, and I would get stop break even there most likely. Because here, seeing this get turned into a bearish breaker, yeah, see, look, it would have been a break even trade regardless, right? I mean, depending on how good your entry was, maybe you're not stopped break even here, but you just saved yourself 11 points of profit by moving your stop to break even, trailing it here versus leaving it at the original entry. So, do you guys see why now, like, you know, I wouldn't want to see price come back here, and if that happens, it makes sense to move your stop in profit here versus leaving it here, because you're probably going to get stopped break even regardless. Why not save yourself a couple bucks, you know? Now we have a 30-second bearish breaker here, which to me, this kind of looks like now we might get like bearish after sweeping out some of this LRLR, right? So yeah, to see, there's the break even. So if you were in that trade, did you move your stop in profit like I said, or did you leave it at the original break even? Because I know 11 points isn't a lot in these price conditions, but that's still $20 a micro. So pretty bullish reaction from that last BPR there. This would be like another setup to take long if you have conviction in like 19,000. And then your break even for that would just be here, right? And this is a reaction off of this BPR, last gap in the leg. The liquidity sweep is here. So technically, and it's invalid. Okay. Well, if that wick hadn't been formed, actually, I can't tell. Are these equal highs here? Yeah, those are equal highs. I don't know. I think this would, I would just call this an invalid setup technically, but yeah, there's the 30-second there. There would be the break even if you decided to take it anyway, but this is an A+ setup. I just think that wick up there made it invalid. Maybe it didn't. I mean, there wasn't an intermediate term high there, so maybe that's not. Actually, I take that back. This was not invalid. This was technically a valid setup because this is our intermediate term high that creates this swing, which is this bearish for value up here that we're taking inverse. So this is your break even. So no, this was an A+ setup all day. But that was your opportunity to jump back in right there if you wanted to. Did anybody jump back in? Yeah, Marwin. I mean, it's high in the day, but mechanically this is A+. DQ, I think those data highs are only on ES. On NQ, they're not data highs because we've already swept them. We actually just had a discussion about this earlier. But yeah, do you see here how the 830 wick is created and then swept out there by this candle? So it's technically not a data high. But I think ES might still have its data high. But right now we're targeting like 19,000-ish as our draw on liquidity. This high here. It's a high inside of a 1 hour SIBI, I think. So that's what I'm looking at right now. But yeah, we'll see. It looks like this 30-second might end up being a break-even trade. You were looking at the 5 minute earlier? Wait, what 5 minute? Oh, for the data high? Yeah. I figured that was the case, Fahrenheit. So yeah, bullish order block going to get put in here. This is just bullish to the highs. If you jump back in the long based off this reaction, that was good. I thought maybe there was an ITH here, and that would have made this setup invalid, but there was no ITH there. It just made relative equal highs, so that was actually improved the quality of the setup. But yeah, things are just getting really choppy here. But didn't we actually hit those highs? Why isn't it invalid? Yeah, so the reason why this isn't invalid is because we only consider a trade as invalid if we if we take out a intermediate term high, okay, of the swing that of the IFEG, okay? So an intermediate term high is technically defined as the three candle pattern where we have a lower high, a higher high, and a lower high, okay? Here, these highs aren't intermediate term highs because there's no lower high here. They're equal, okay? And so when you look at this three candle pattern, you wouldn't go, oh, okay, this is our intermediate term high. You'd say, oh, actually, no, this is our intermediate term high because we have lower high, higher high, and lower high. So technically, because this wick here didn't sweep out this high, this is technically still a valid setup. I just couldn't tell in the moment if these were equal highs or if they were like one tick off. Because if this candle was one tick higher than this wick high here, this would be a case where this is an intermediate term high. You'd have a lower high, higher high, lower high down there. Yeah, no. So there's the final TP for the 30-second there. Did anybody take that? Not final TP, sorry, first TP. Because that was 2R. Honestly, if I would have seen that this wasn't an intermediate term high, I would have taken the setup. All right, Brandon, have a good night. Yeah, you too, so on. How I would evaluate higher time frame bias now? Yeah, the higher time frame is actually really easy right now, Gomez. So if you look at the 15-minute, we're completely respecting this 15-minute bullish gap here. Okay, so that 15-minute gap's being respected. This 15 minutes being respected. And we're just putting in bullish PD arrays and disrespecting bearish ones. Okay, these 5 minutes being respected here. And you can see here, this is when we get our reversal. We're disrespecting bearish PD arrays. That's when we get our market structure shift here. So everything here about the market on the higher time frame is, 5 minute up is telling us that we're bullish, okay? As far as delivery goes. Draw is this high inside this for value gap, okay? So higher time frame bias right now is just that high inside that for value gap. Sorry, not that one. Where are we at? Here we go. Sorry about that. These highs. See, has a high inside the 1 hour. But bouncing between 2 hourlies. I don't really see that. You mean this one here? I guess, like, I'm going to say we're bullish for now. Because our most recent swing is where I would base our bias off of, and we're delivering bullish out of that. Once we sweep this liquidity, then I won't know for certain, right? But right now, I can concretely say we're bullish because if you look to the left here, there's no roadblock stopping us until we get to this high. You know, once we sweep liquidity up here, then, you know, you can start to ask those questions. You know, what is our bias truly? I have 2 Apex funded and 1 MFFU. Unfortunately, my MFFU was my first funded and it's $700 in drawdown. But that's the account I care about more for some reason. I really want to bring it back from the dead. Hey, that account is not dead. That's only... You still have $1,800 of drawdown to work with, so... For passing MFFU, yeah, I kind of went over this earlier, but I like for eval passing just going for like 1R base hits, risking like $400 or $500, and then for MFFU, since there's no trailing drawdown, you can just kind of let those plays run a little bit longer. So just same thing as you would normal for trades, just take A and A plus setups, but just add size to them. So we almost came back and made this a break-even trade after taking out that high. This is just like every single push on this high has gotten a stop run. It's crazy. We're about to be at 3:30 here. This session is just flown by. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but... Okay, so looks like that's going to be a break even. Are those equal highs left? No. I don't know, Murmur. It's just like generating liquidity, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Frosty. I was talking about PA being bad, like all the way back here, and how I didn't really want to trade that. So that's kind of been where I've been at today. I thought that there was a couple good 30-second setups, but today was definitely the worst day of PM so far this week, and that's something that we can totally expect, right? I always say Fridays are the worst day for PM, and that's why we take them off all the time, because this is the type of price action we get. Just a lot of stop runs. Usually we get bad PA on Fridays too, because we've already hit our weekly target and our daily objective and everything, and news is played out, and so there's just not a whole lot for us to look at. But 30-second up worth it? No, honestly, probably not. I wouldn't take that. It's not as obvious as this one. Plus, it's already not giving you that V-shaped momentum setup that you want here. This is like, I don't even know what you would call a setup. It's like the W setup. I'm going to do something like that. But yeah, the only thing I've called A+ this entire session was this trade. And it's because we'd retraced nicely to discount. We got that nice, manipulation leg there, sweep of liquidity, good momentum up, right? It's the only thing I've called A+ this session. Actually, wait, that's not true. I think I also called this A plus, right? Or was it this? It was one of these setups. One of these 30-second setups back up. I also said was like, yeah, it was this one because we got the liquidity sweep there, and we retraced to 50 of the range. So technically A plus, but this is mechanical. This was like subjective A plus. And the reason why this is mechanical A plus and this is subjective is because the draw and liquidity for the subjective was way better. When I calculate my range, which high and low do I use? It just depends on what time frame I'm looking at mostly and what makes sense. So here, what I notice immediately when I look at the 15-minute is we have like this fair value gap that looks like it's right around 50. So I'd use this range when evaluating like higher time frame 50%, right? Where I would expect price to retrace to after sweeping liquidity. And that's exactly what happened, right? We swept out liquidity here with a swing, okay? So the swing low starts here. This is our intermediate term low, right? Lower, higher low, lower low, higher low, right? Intermediate term low. And then here we get the lower high, higher high, lower high, right? So that forms our swing, okay? And then whenever I'm looking at 50%, I'm not just using 50% itself. I'm looking to see if there's any draws on liquidity or any PD arrays that could support price coming back to that level and then seeing a bounce from there. So in this scenario, we have a 15-minute bullish gap. It's tiny there. There's also a 5-minute unfilled gap, right? So here, it makes sense to see price come back to that and fill that in, right? Because that fair value gap lines up right with that unfilled PD array, okay? So that's how I would use 50% is just do that, but extrapolate that out to other time frames. You know, if I was to be looking at the 1 hour, like what makes sense here? We have this tiny 1 hour here, but does it really make sense to come back to, or does it make more sense to look at like the hourly here, where you can see here we get the void, okay? And then like what Ryan and I did as far as taking long-term positions is we looked at 50%. I believe there's like a swing low here if you look at the 15-minute. That's why I'm drawing it to there. But yeah, you can see there's like a 15-minute swing low. So you drop from there to there, you can clearly see price comes back to 50%, and then we start to move up from there, right? So that's kind of the idea behind that. Does that make sense though, Marwan or Marlin? You want to align your 50% retraces with some other fair value gap or unfilled PD array. Okay, came down, swept this low, here, clearly a soup. Forming this 30-second V-shape setup here. Probably just going to tape read and watch this one. So it's not just the most recent swing high and swing low, but you also have to take into consideration unfilled gaps where price would like to reach. Exactly, right? Price should only ever retrace after a liquidity sweep, right? Price wants to go from liquidity to inefficiency to inefficiency, right? So there's no real reason why price should retrace before a liquidity sweep, and so that's when you would start to look for a retrace to 50% is after that, right? And usually whenever you get the best 50% retraces is when there's some unfilled liquidity that aligns with 50%. Some unfilled inefficiency. This weekend's going to be crazy. I'm really curious to see where the market will open come Monday. Not for any particular reason, but just because I feel like we could get news over the weekend that will just completely shift the futures market come Monday. Like Trump says something or whatever. No. It wasn't 6 figures. It was 5 figures. Digital Nomad. It was only like I think the whole payout was like 11 grand or something. No, not 6 figures. Goodness, no, I've never gotten a 6 figure payout before. One day though, that's my goal. We have this 30-second to the upside here. Honestly, this is bad price action, so I just wouldn't take anything else. Why haven't I gotten a 6 figure payout? Because I suck. That's why. By the way, Fahrenheit told me that that glitch that happened the other day with Euro. Apparently, Top Step didn't catch it. Does it make a less favorable setup when price consolidates inside the FEG? Not necessarily. Um, just usually for those setups, you want to see like a singular candle close still through the gap. Like what I would expect to see on like a setup like that, right? Is like let's say we're consolidating inside the fair value gap like we are right now, right? What I like to see usually when we finally do inverse the gap is we'll be at the low of the fair value gap and then we'll see a candle that inverses it in a singular candle from the low. Okay, I don't really like to see like when we're consolidating like this, and then it takes like three like candles to finally inverse it because I feel like those usually fail because the momentum's bad. Oh, Top Step reset your accounts today. So you did all that for nothing. Oh my goodness. It was probably going to reset either way. Okay, so when those glitches come out, it's probably better to be hush hush about it instead of doing what Tempo did. But honestly, like what he did was kind of smart from like a business perspective. Like, dude, that's so crazy. Say, guys, guys, this is a free funded account. Just use the glitch, but make sure you use my code since I put you guys onto the glitch. Yeah, he asked people to use his referral, and then he collected all the commissions off people buying accounts. So he's really the only one that actually profited off the glitch. So this 30-second long is working. Technically never failed. Break even there. I have no idea, Danzino. So yeah, it would have been a break-even trade for that 30 seconds. So we're not missing out on anything by sending out here. Appreciate it, Marwin. Thank you for being an active participant in class and asking so many questions. It really makes it easier for me to talk and provide educational content. Sometimes I don't know what to talk about or like what to say, so having you guys ask questions kind of makes that easier on me. it's my mother's birthday this weekend, so I'll probably go over there at some point and spend some time with her. Yeah, thanks, Baker. Yeah, for sure. Hey, I wonder if Exano or Amy are in here. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we like made them like a card like how they did for Dodgy for his graduation, and maybe put together a little gift set or something for them since they're getting married. That could be kind of cool, right? You know, Amy's always doing nice things for the people in here. I don't think anybody's ever done anything for them, so yeah, for sure, Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit, what are you gonna say? Like your V shape is A plus or something like that? You want to keep this stream professional? A little late for that. Shoot at 350? I don't know, maybe. I don't know if we'll get a explosive 350 today, like we did these last couple days. Oh God. Well, I don't got really anything else to say right now. This is a pretty terrible 350. We've just been barcoding for the last feels like 2 hours. So I'm probably gonna wrap up stream here unless you guys have any other questions you'd like to ask last minute. Yeah. CPI is definitely stronger than PPI, right? CPI is like inflation data, right? PPI is like manufacturing, or what is it? Change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers. Oh, okay. So wait, isn't CPI like the basket of goods, and then what's this? This is wholesale prices. I feel like CPI like kind of tells you like what PPI is going to be like. changing the price. Yeah. So this is producers and this is consumers. So this tells you like what like producers are pricing out their goods at, and then this tells you like what consumers are paying for goods. So I think this is your basket, right? It's inflation data, but it's just different. I feel like this is more important because this is what consumers are actually feeling in their pockets, which is directly correlated to the overall economy. Right? This is the end result of whatever PPI is, right? So PPI directly affects CPI, but if CPI is coming out first, then we can kind of anticipate what PPI is going to be, right? Because if like let's say like PPI or like let's say CPI comes out, right? And CPI is 0.2% greater month over month. Inflation's gone up. And then PPI comes out the next day. We already know that consumers have been facing higher prices, which probably tells us that in somewhere in the production process, something became more expensive, right? And so because we know that CPI is greater, we already can kind of assume that PPI is also going to be greater or lesser, right? If goods became cheaper, right, which is the case here, we had a 0.1% reduction in the inflation rate from the previous month, then we already can assume that producers also saw the inflation rate come down, which you can see here. We actually beat the estimate. We were anticipating inflation to be 0.2% more on producers, but it was actually 0.4% less, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying, right? So we know that the cost of goods comes directly from like what a producer basically has to pay and then the profit that they want to make on top of that. So if the cost to producers are going up, then we know that the consumer is also going to pay those costs. So that's why like CPI coming out first and then PPI coming out after isn't really that big of a deal, because we know that because CPI was less, we know that PPI is also going to be less. So anytime, like if PPI comes out first, then obviously PPI is going to be directly impacting the inflation rate that consumers face. So in that scenario, PPI will be higher impact. If CPI comes out first, then that'll be higher impact. It's just whatever comes out first, right? Yeah, I don't know exactly. So yeah, when PPI comes out first, that'll probably be higher impact than CPI. But yeah, I guess on that note, we'll take one last look at the market here. Not really anything. Once again, I mean, just more wicks. Um, so yeah, I'll end off stream here, take a small break, go to the bathroom, and then for all of you mentorship people, I'll see you in about 5 minutes when we get started with journal review. All right. Peace out, everyone. Have a good weekend.